Okay, hej allesammans, god dag och hälsningar från Finland. My name is Tuomas Talola and I'm here to present you Mestamaster. Mestamaster we are very much focused on enabling and implementing takt time on construction. And before I tell you how we do it, I want to give you a few provocative statements that hopefully at least some of you might be a little bit offended. My first statement is that Microsoft Excel is really good for takt planning. I mean, seriously, even we use it for the planning. There are some shortcomings with the Excel, but overall, I think it's a very good tool to start with the takt planning. And another statement is that no matter what tool you use Excel, use R tools or any other tool presented here, they don't really work if you don't get the people involved. So I understand most of the listeners here, you already know the lean philosophy, so I'm probably speaking obvious things to you, but I really want to emphasize it to you that no tool helps you if you don't get people to understand and follow them. Okay, let's move on to our presentation. A little bit about our history. So back in about 10 years ago, our team had our first experience working with takt, and the environment was slightly different than November in Finland or Norway. It was in the Bahama Islands, and it was the cabin renovation of one of those large cruise ships. And the time schedule that was given was extremely tight. There were about 1,000 cabins that needed a facelift renovation, and the time for that was 1 month. So how would you do that? So probably some of you already guessed the key answer here is takt. And by takt, it means that the takt length has to be really small. It was 15 minutes. So as you can imagine, in 15 minutes, you cannot complete really complicated task, and the flow must be really efficient. So moving on to 2015, we started working on how to get takt working onshore on the construction projects. And there in 2017, we started the app development. First, it was like let's say a summer project on helping how could I do myself as a site supervisor, how I could do my work better. And in 2019, the company was founded. We have been now working on takt. We have about 40 customers and over 100 projects that have finished or are currently using takt, mostly in Finland. And the projects that we started were quite simple, like student apartment renovations, but over time, the takt usage here in Finland has been moved onto more and more complex projects like 100 million euro complex hospital projects or schools or offices where the sort of takt areas are not as obvious as in apartment buildings. And the way that we work with our customers is that we really want to help them to get the takt working on the site, and that's why most of our customers who start working with that also want to do their second and third and so on project with us and using the takt methods. So we have been invited here to present our digital solution, which I will do in a little bit short, but also the know-how is very important. So how to get the takt working, how to get the people involved in that. So it's about, there are a few things that you need to do. You need, for example, you need to get the subcontractors. They need to be involved in making the schedule. And you also need to get the workers, those installers, those plumbers, electricians, they need to also understand the plan. And you got to get them to follow it. So that is where we typically help with the projects. And our tool, it is for takt planning, yes, but even more important part, it is for the executing the plan, sort of, or another term that we use is the takt control. So it is simply about giving a responsibility to teams. They have work tasks, they need to follow them, they need to update when they start, when they finished, or if something comes up, they need to report an interruption, and based on that information, we get the sort of takt production rolling, and we can all the problems in the production that occur, we can very quickly respond to those. And here's my third provocative statement that with Takt you can save up to 20% of construction time. And that's true, but way that I have been thinking it lately, so I don't know how many of you are video game players, but if you start a new game, do you start with an easy mode or do you jump into the hard or insane mode? So I think it with Takt is the same thing, that if you are starting, it's not, you don't want to really that much efficiency gains. You want to just reduce the scheduling risks. And also another anecdote about video games is that this is a multiplayer game, so it's not that you understand how this could work and how it would really cut the construction time. You need to everybody on the project also understand and commit to following the plan. Few of our customers that we have been working, and Ruar gave me advice that we should avoid live demo, so I'm going to disregard that advice and jump right into live demo. So this is our app, and what you are seeing here is the sort of very simple version of where you enter the Takt zones. In this example, we have an apartment building, 8 floors, and each floor is divided into 3 sections. Here is written descriptions, which apartments apply to each sort of section. And this is something that you can do manually, but also import from an Excel model, or later on also from a BIM's IFC model. But in this example, I have just done it manually, so I follow. For example, I haven't entered here floor areas or volumes. So this is the basic of a Takt plan. You have different areas, Takt zones, where you need to work. Another thing, sort of basic, is the different teams that are working this project. So this is a renovation project. So we have a demolition team here, gypsum walls, all the teams that are needed in this work, all the contractors who are needed in this work, also including the site management here. How many areas they have, how many work tasks they have, and sort of estimation how many work hours it takes to them to complete all the tasks. Next, we jump into the Takt planning, and this is where we plan the Takt train template. So in this presentation, I'm assuming so you have already sort of at least preliminary knowledge of what Takt is, so I won't go into the theoretical pinpoints on how it works, but sort of simple example, we have split our Takt train into 5 different trains, and if here it starts from the train number 1, which starts with a work package demolition, and here are the work tasks that are included in this package, all the way to walls and enclosure. And there's a specific reason why we have split the train into sort of different parts. We also sometimes use the word exploded trains. But let's see how it shows on our time and space view. So this is time and space view, and here on the left you can see on the rows the different areas, Takt areas. Same that I showed you previously. There's floor 8, zone 1, zone 3, zone 2, zone 3, and here on the columns we have Takt numbers and also on the dates. Notice here that this also includes the weekends, so this is slightly longer than the typical Takt length. Can zoom in here. This is still a quite simple project for demoing, and this is the view that the site management most often use, sort of following where they are. We are here on the red line. This is where the work is supposed to be happening, and as we can see, most of here is green, so the work groups have done really their task. Here is something, this has been interrupted. The seaming task has been interrupted, so this is something where the site management can update their tasks. But typically we try to get the sort of employees. There's usually in each work group, there's one employee who we give our app and the responsibility to follow the task. But this is where, for example, I could mark, so this is resolved now, so the works can start. Let's move on to the per Takt view. So this is Another word we use here is the huddle view. And this is the huddle view comes from the term that we very much use morning huddles in our projects. So I earlier said that tucked plan, all the great plans that you can work are not really effective unless you get the work groups to follow them. And morning huddles is a very crucial element for those. So in those huddles, we go through each work group and their tasks. And here you can see this is the current task that we are working on. Started on Wednesday and goes over the weekend, although typically we finish them by Friday afternoon. And as we can see here, most of the work groups have done really well. Demolition guys, everything is green. Actually, from their part, they have already done all the tasks. Gypsum wall guys also very much green. One task is still ongoing. And this is sort of the view that we show to every work group so that they can give their feedback on how their previous work has gone, how they think that they can do their current work, and sort of get the feedback and get all the stuff that might interfere with the project and for the success of it. So once again, very core part of the lean, get the feedback from the actual workers. And earlier I said that you need to get the work groups to update their tasks. So now I have opened our mobile app. This is running here on my computer, but typically it's on Apple or on Android phones as a separate app. And here, this is my work group. I'm one of those gypsum wall guys. I'm the sort of senior guy who has given the responsibility to update our task. And here, before I come to the morning huddle, I can update my tasks. So this has been started, but we are already done. Let's see. This is also completed. I can mark it done. Also this one here. This one we have a little bit problem. We cannot work here because the space is not available. So I enter an interruption here, and so this is also goes directly a notification to a site manager. So work has been interrupted here in space 3.2 because the space was not available. So this is sort of the thing that every work group needs to do before they come to the morning huddle. Let's move back to our time and space view. So I earlier said that we have split the tuck trains into different parts. So here you can see that here's the first part of the train. Here are some empty buffer wagons. Here begins the second part. And the reason for this is where there are sort of two specific reasons. First of all, I want to show you that how the whole schedule can be edited in very, very simple way. So in tucked, in our philosophy, all the sort of trains should be similar in each similar space. So you can do editing here. For example, let's move the cabling work task from this wagon. Let's try again here. So now we have moved it into the second wagon. Let's go back to the schedule. And now it has loaded. And as you can see now in each space that we have applied this tuck train, now the third wagon has become empty. So it's sort of like a buffer wagon. So if there's a need to edit the schedule, then it's very easy to edit the schedule on each workspace. So you don't have to do it separately on each train, which of course you can do. For example, I can show you here that what space should we pick. Let's pick this one here. So the floor casting, we are doing floor casting here, but it's still wet, so we need to move the train a little bit forward. So let's pick this one, move it forward here. So now we have enabled that there's a once again a little bit of buffer so that it can wait for drying, and then after that the drywall guys, the painters, can come here and start their work. So this is something that you can apply just to single space, so you don't need to edit each space separately. And of course there's other options. You can here add different trains. Used as an example to add the final train here. Let's add it. Now it's double here. This one. And now we have added the train here. So this is sort of where you actually create the task schedule, and where you can edit it, sort of do the sort of micromanaging of the schedule. But the big changes you can do here on the tag trains or the tag train templates.
4 minutes, Thomas.
Sorry, how much time?
4 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So good to know, but I'm almost finished. So I earlier said that Excel is a very good tool for planning, but there are some shortcomings, and one of the things is that Excel is not very good at gathering data. For example, that this task here, when it was started, when it was completed. Here you can see the task log. In this demo project, it was started 4 days ago. It was also completed 4 days ago. So this is all the data that you could use in your future project to improve your production, and also get the data on what works, where are the problems, which causes interrupts, and so on. It's really rich data that you can gather with our app and with our process, and you can monitor it within Mestamaster. But I think also more important is that we have this sort of open API, so that you can download all the data, all the project data, and use it however you wish to get the reports. For example, a few of our customers use it to get Power BI reports. So every week, every second week, every month, they can get the report from our site, from the sites that we are running, and get the data on where are we? Are we on schedule? Are we behind the schedule? Are we sort of improving, that we are getting back to schedule, or is the situation becoming worse? So with tagged planning, with tagged control, you really get that all that information, and you can sort of really focus on the stuff that Lean is all about, sort of continuous improvement. So you have the data, you know how to use it. So it is not just project after project without sort of considering what needs to be done to improve in the future projects. So I will finish ahead of schedule in the spirit of tact. So if you have any questions or anything else, I'm expecting to hear them from you.
Thank you, Thomas. And it's a good commercial to be associated with accelerating schedules. So a good commercial for Mestamaster, right? So thank you for your presentation. Excellent. And still no questions in the chat. So unless there's a malfunction with the chat function, seems like everyone is just listening and enjoying what's being presented. So I have one more of a comment than a question. You said in the beginning you were gonna throw some provocative sentences out there, and one of them, or at least you ended up in the end saying that buying a tool is not enough if you can't get the people to follow or use it. I don't think that's very provocative in this setting. If not, we have for the last 17 years in LCNO done a poor job of explaining people in this community what Lean is about. So just a funny observation there. So, yep. Thank you so much for your presentation.